Hello, everybody, and welcome to Guided Creativity, Session 1, right here on Be a Better Game Master. My name is Barker, and before we get started, I just want to clear some things up. I like to record my audio podcasts without thinking of any editing or anything in terms of post-production. I like to let them flow, and this one will be no different. The only difference is that over the course of this podcast, you should be in front of a sheet of paper with a pencil or a pen inside of your hand. Maybe you might want to use a dry erase board or a dry erase marker, something like that. You want to get into a place that's comfortable, kind of like I am. I'm in my comfortable place. I don't have to edit this podcast. You're about to listen to me take a drink of coffee right here. That's delicious. I'm comfortable, and I get creative when I'm comfortable, and that is important. Comfortable and awake. I'm drinking coffee. Maybe you might want to grab a soda before we get started. Maybe you might want to grab a beer, depending on the time of day, on your, desire for a beer, I suppose. Who am I to judge? But basically, we're going to get comfortable, and we're going to create some stuff for our tabletop role-playing game. So, by now, you should have probably paused this podcast and then pressed play again when you were done getting comfortable with your drink and your sheet of paper in front of you. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to look at that sheet of paper. Really, really look at it. You can put anything on that sheet of paper. Anything. I'm serious. Anything that you can think up, dream up, you can write or draw or sketch or paint or whatever it is on that sheet of paper. How terrifying is that? Now, I don't know if you feel it, but I feel it. I feel a real fear when I look at a blank sheet of paper. And the reason I feel that fear is I don't want to screw it up. I can write anything, but I don't want to write something wrong. I have tons of blank journals around my house because I buy these very pretty journals with all intentions of writing in them, only to think, God, man, this journal's so pretty. I don't want to write the wrong thing in it. I don't want to screw it up. I can write anything in it, so I'm not going to write anything at all. Okay? But we're pushing that last part aside, because that's what we're here to do right now. We are here to build something with our minds. Okay, the only thing we're not going to put on that sheet of paper is nothing. We are not going to put nothing there. We have decided that this is the allotted time for creating, and that's exactly what we're going to do. I want you to look to your left right now. Boom. What is it you see? What is it you're looking at right now? Really behold it. Really think about it. Ask yourself, is it colorful? How large is it? Is it tiny? Is it small, like a set of keys? Is it small, like a book or a DVD or a DVD player? Or is it huge, like a big screen TV or the wall itself? What is it you are looking at? And more specifically, what words could be used to describe it? Is it dirty? Is it clean? Is it colorful? Is it orange? Is it old? Is it new? Is it organic material? What is it? Now, when I looked to my left, I immediately saw my niece, Evelyn. This is a picture of her when she was a baby. Now, she's all bundled in a red blanket. So I could choose the word red. I could choose bundled or warm. I could choose lovely or beautiful because I love my niece, Evelyn. I could choose the word child or baby, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a qualifier, okay, a quality, okay, well, that's a better word for it. Take a quality of that thing that I looked at when I looked left, and I'm going to write it on the top of my sheet of paper, and I'm going to draw a line underneath it all the way across the sheet. All the way across, draw that line right underneath that word. So I put child. Okay, that's what I'm going to write. I'm going to write child on the top of my sheet of paper, and I draw the line underneath it all the way across the sheet. Now look to your right. What do you see? What is it? Let's do this again. Is it teeny tiny? Is it an animal? Is it an office, a piece of office supplies? Is it a stapler? Is it a cell phone? Is it a blanket? Is it laundry? Is it a clock? What is it? What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it smell like? What does it remind you of? Who gave it to you? What money did you use to buy that? What did you do for work to earn the money to pay for that thing? What is it? What does it remind you of? And I want you to put that word on the bottom of the sheet of paper. And I want you to draw a line above that word, right above that word, all the way across the sheet of paper. I just looked to my right and I saw the TARDIS. Okay, it's a TARDIS salt shaker, and yes, TARDIS, I mean time and relative dimension in space, the time-traveling spacecraft piloted by the Doctor that is known commonly to be larger on the inside than it is on the outside. You should watch some Doctor Who, really. It's great. And super inspirational. But I digress. TARDIS salt shaker that we don't use, but it's put up on display, and it is blue, obviously. It is gray on top because it's got dust on it. It says the word police on it. I could choose something that reminds me of Police or the band The Police. Okay, don't do it, Barker. Oh, I'm doing it, Roxanne! Okay, no, I'm done. I'm done. We're creating. I am going to choose time travel, though. Time travel is a quality that describes the TARDIS, and I love time travel. And to think that I glanced to the right and saw time travel, one of the most renowned plot elements in fiction history, I see it right there on my shelf. And that's how creativity works. You pull what's around you, what you go through, what you witness in your daily lives, and that's what we're doing here today. So, I chose time travel. I wrote it on the bottom of my sheet of paper, and I drew a line across the entire sheet right above that word. So you should have kind of like a box in between, or a space in between these two words that you can write in. And that's exactly what we're going to do. I want you to take your top word, and I want you to take your bottom word, and I want you to mix them together. And what does it make you think of? Okay, I took the top word, child. My bottom word is time travel. Okay? So what I'm doing is I'm going to say that there's a time-traveling child. I'm going to write that right in the middle. Okay? Now take some time. Take your time with it. Really think about how you can mix these two things up. Are they related in any way physically? Are they the same size? Have you ever seen those two things together in any way? Did the same person give them to you? Who gave you the other thing, Who gave you either of those things? Were they gifts? Did you buy them? Is there a certain pattern on one of those things that it might be interesting to see if it were overlaid on the other thing? Can you immediately, if I said, get in your head and write me one sentence about those two things combined in some sort of way, no rules, you can really write anything down, okay, keep that in mind. The only rule is the one you fence in, the one you build yourself, okay, so don't be fenced in by the fences you've built. But really think about a way you might mix those two things and write down what that is. So I just recommended that you think of, a one sentence that could combine those things and writing it down. Do that. Maybe draw a picture if you want to draw a picture and you don't want to write something down. But just get that one thing on the sheet and look at it. Okay, you're really going to look at it. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to either draw a line from that thing that you wrote and have it lead off into another idea that's based on that original thing you wrote. So it's almost like a spiderweb graph. Like if I wrote time-traveling child, I can draw a line to, I can write, let's say I will write 17th century France. That will be where the time-traveling child is from. Really get into that idea. You can do that, or you can write down an entirely new idea. Okay, you could have multiple spiderweb charts going on the sheet of paper, and that's what it's there for. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to keep writing these. Okay, you've set your timer. This podcast is running, we're almost to 11 minutes, just over the 10-minute mark. And I want you to see if you can go for another 4 minutes. I want to see if you can go for another 4 minutes. We'll kind of start closing this out at 15 minutes. If you are anxious for more creativity, there will perhaps in the future, not right now, but in the future, be multiple episodes that you can check out. But I want you to continue this process for now 4 more minutes. Really pay attention to when you're starting to get stuck and ask yourself why. First of all, if you're starting to get writer's block or just stuck, I want you to go back to the beginning and look at those left and right objects again and just start combining them and create a whole new web. But sometimes the pressure to be creative won't start. It just won't happen. So what we have to do, if this is something you're experiencing, the thing about motivation is that in order to get motivated, you have to act like you already are. Same thing goes with creativity. Act like you're already creative. Write down 2 words. Butterfly sings. That's what I just thought of when I looked at my wall and saw a decorative butterfly. And I saw a cocopelli, which is a southwestern symbol, and he's playing a musical instrument, and it reminded me of singing. So you can basically do anything you want. Just write something down. Get past that block. I think that oftentimes we feel like our brains have tightened up and they're small, right? Our creative space is small. I want you to look around you and look at all the space you have to stretch your arms. Hopefully you have some. But I want you to try your best to not feel so claustrophobic inside your mind. Let your thoughts be light. Let them flow with abandon. Whatever enters your brain, write it down. Start a new web graph with that one thing. Because at the end of this process, you are going to have multiple ideas sitting on paper. And the only thing you did is pull from your brain. That's all you did. You looked left, you looked right, you pulled from your brain, and you created multiple ideas on this sheet of paper. And while you're writing them down, I think this is the most important part. While you're writing them down, I want you to start thinking about what you're going to do with them. What are you going to do with these ideas? Are you going to run a one-shot game? Are you going to base an entire campaign off of one of these ideas? Is this going to be a session in a game? Is this going to be a non-player character? Is this going to be an enemy? I think my character will probably be a plot hook, something to lure people somewhere. Maybe someone sees a time-traveling child and the characters have to go figure out what it's about, Really start thinking about what it is you are going to do with these things. Now, I don't want you to be afraid to say nothing. You've already accomplished the task. You've already created. We got together and we created something brand new. Multiple things. If you want to use them, great. If not, no problem. Because I have a friend named Tim Carney, and he says that unused creativity is not benign. And he's absolutely right. Unused creativity hurts. It pulls at your chest and your esophagus, and you just got to get it out. And that's exactly what we're doing. Just a little more time here to write any last-minute ideas or think any last-second thoughts about what you wrote and how you'll use it. But I just wanted to thank you all, and I hope that this was a helpful way to empty whatever it is lurking inside your brain, to empty the cobwebs, to clean it out. And we'll see you in session 2.